Okay, for this demonstration I'm using an online PHP editor called onecompile.com/php, right? So we can actually write some PHP codes here, just like echo hello world, and run this command. It will have the output here. Okay, so basically I want to look at the for loop, how it works, right? So I want to give a little bit of an introduction to for loop. So you do a for and declare a variable. This is the counter variable, which is starting from 1, and the middle part, the second part, is basically you are going to give the exit condition, which is the breaking condition. So I want to run this loop until from 1 until 5, right? 1 through to 5, and then the third one after. So this is the first delimiter, this is the second delimiter, which is the semicolon. The third section we can give the counter. So it's basically, I'm telling $i++ means it's gonna iterate or increment by 1 on the next iteration. So on the first iteration it will be 1, and on the next iteration it will be 2. It will go up to until 5, right? So we can see with an echo statement what's going on here. Right? If I do this and run, I can see it's printing from 1 through to 5, right? So what's going on here is basically we are starting from I value 1, right? And then we come here to this second section. So this is the initialization section, which will run only once, and the second section will be checking. There will be a condition normally here. So this condition will result in either true or false. So i's value is 1, and 1 less than or equal to 5. If we check that, that's true, right? I is less than 5. So that's true. So if this is true, it will jump to the body section, right? So body section is this starting bracket and the ending bracket. Within that, what you have is the body section, and it will come here and print this I, which is 1 on the first round, right? And then after the print, it will go to this increment section. So it will come here, it will increment I by 1. Now the i's values will be 2, right? So after that it will never go to this one. So that's only once. That's just from the start. It will only run once. Then it's between this condition, this body, and then this increment. This condition, this body, and then this increment, right? So that's the cycle it's going to go through. So i's value is 2 now. We come here, put 2 here. 2 less than or equal to 5 is true. So because of that, we should go into the body and echo or print the second 2 value, right? The value 2. And then after this, it will go again to this location. It will increment by 1. Then the I becomes 3, right? I becomes 3 here. 3 less than or equal to 5 is true. It will print. I becomes 4. 4 less than or equal to 5 is true. It will print 4. And then I becomes 5 here, and then 5 less than or equal to 5 is true again. Echo 5, which prints this 5. It will come here again, and now the i's values will be 6. At this point, 6 is less than or equal to 5. This condition becomes false, right? So at that point, this loop is going to break out. So that's why we see only from 1 to 5, right? If we have something like 10 here, it will go from 1 to 10, as you can see, right? If you want to put it to the next line, what you can do is just use the concatenation operator, which is the dot, and then do a double quotes there and /n. That means we are going to put digits one by one in its separate lines. So if I run this, you can see it's gonna print out like this. So in HTML you can use a BR, right? That will also do the same, but here it's not going to work in this editor, but in actual HTML page it will work. Okay, anyway, so that's that. All right, now if somebody wants to print 1 and then skip 2, go to 3, 5, 7, something like that, we can actually start from 1 and then 1 less than or equal to 10 is true and print 1. But here we need to increment not just by 1, we need to increment by 2. Okay? So plus equal means you take whatever value you have and then add 2 to it and then reassign the resulting value to I. So basically on the first round I was 1, and once this echo is done, it will come here. I plus equal to means that's I was previously, the value of the I is 1 and 2 will be added to it, and now I becomes 3, right? So just like previously explained, it will now come to this section again. 3 less than or equal to 10 is true, and because of that the second printing will be 3, right? So if I run this, you will see it's going to print 1, 3, because basically now in the stepping up or incrementing operation, what we are incrementing is by value 2, right? So that's why you don't see the the sequential value, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. What you see is increment by 2s. Okay, you can increment by 3, whatever, right? Okay, so that's for loop. And for loop, using for loop, we can actually create a while loop as well. It's something like this: for $I, and you give the semicolon. We know we need to give the condition here, but if we do not give any conditions, that means it's an open loop, right? We don't have any conditions being checked here. So it's our responsibility within this for loop body to break it out, right? So for that, we don't have any condition in the middle section, right? Okay, so but we will have some steps here. So if I do I plus plus here, right, and do an echo, if I say $I, right, now this actually is a it's a valid condition. Now I'm gonna comment this out, okay, and if I run this, it's gonna run 1, 2, 3, something like that infinitely, right? It's not gonna stop. See, now it ran up to some point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, like that, and then at a point it stopped. Okay, so there's something stopping. So it is supposed to go to infinite, and a underlying server might crash even. But here what we can do is we can give a condition here, like say for example $I, if it is equal to 10, then we can say break out of this loop, right? So that means if when I reaches 10, it will break, right? Then this thing will not print. So that means when we start from I equal 1, just give it a, see, I starts from 1, there's no condition, so we will come directly into this body, and we will check whether 1 is equal to 10, no, then we print it. Now after the body, we'll go to this increment section or the step section, right? So I will become 2 now. There's no condition here, so come here, 2 is equal to 10 is false, no break, just 2 printed, right? Likewise it will go up to when I becomes 10, right? When I becomes 10, this condition will meet and then break. That means you are not going to see 10 printed or 10 or further numbers printed, right? Because it's going to break out of the loop. So that's the theory behind this. Here also you can do a incremental step by 2 if you want, right? So what's happening here is actually, so it's gonna go from 1, 3, 5, 7 likewise, and it will never hit this break, right? Because i's value will not become 10, right? If we started from 0, yes, it will meet that criteria. See, so if you started from 0, it will be like 2, 4, 6, 8, and then the next item will be 10. So it will meet this criteria and break, right? But when the values are all like odd numbers, it will never hit this one, right? But what we can do here is, instead of equals, we could say, okay, when I becomes greater than 10, just break it, right? So that's possible, right? So for a while loop, which is an endless loop, we need a way to break it out, right? We need a breaking condition. We call that a breaking condition. So you could do this, and yeah, so that's about it on the break. So here also, if you wanted it to be printed, line by line, you can do \n. So it's gonna print them in its own lines, right? So make sure that at a point i's value will satisfy this condition and break at some point. So this is basically a while loop sort of a situation, right? So example while loop would be something like this, $i. So here you need a condition, right? So as long as this condition is met, this code will run for $i. So we can do a plus plus here, because I plus plus means it will print i's value and then increment by 1 automatically, right? Otherwise we will have to print, echo it, and then say $i equals $i plus 1, right? This is same as $i plus plus. Both of these lines are equivalent. And also there's another way of doing the same, giving the same thing, $i plus equal 1, right? This and this, these three are same. Actually, it's doing the same thing, right? But a shorter way to do that is, you echo the value and then subsequently increment the value, right? So in order to run this, we will have to initially give a value here, right? Either 0 or 1, right? So we'll just get rid of this. Now it's going to be this condition, run. Okay, I hope you got the picture. Hopefully that's gonna clear out your dilemma. Thank you very much.